Hello everyone, my name is Corey Himes. I'm going to be presenting my SDAIE lesson plan on rational numbers and how they relate to the number line. First, taking a look at the content area standards for mathematics. My lesson meets the standards that relate to rational numbers, the addition, subtraction, and how they relate to the number line. Next, I've set the language objectives for this lesson to be exchanging information, ideas, contribute to class, group, and partner discussions, sustaining conversations on a variety of age and grade appropriate academic topics by following turn-taking rules, asking and answering relevant on-topic questions, affirming others, providing additional relevant information, and paraphrasing key ideas. First, for my into processes, I'll use the idea starts activity at the beginning of the class to get my students thinking about the things that they already understand and how they lead into the lesson that we will be completing for the 2 days. For example, I will present my students with a scenario that involves things that they already understand. This could be a problem involving a submarine's maximum diving depth. They will also be given information on the depth of the water and whether the submarine can make the dive. This will illustrate the number line and as it relates to the difference. This allows the lesson to build off of their previous knowledge of number lines. I will then introduce new vocabulary to students and have them make a vocabulary card for a rational number. They will create a card with the term on one side and the definition of an example on the other side. The students will then add this card to their other vocabulary cards for the course, which they will already have a collection of. Next, for my through processes, I will give a demonstration of the material in a direct teaching style lecture. I will demonstrate the applications of the content and complete problems from the book. I will also make use of comprehension checks while I teach to gauge the student's level of understanding. This will give my students an opportunity to interact with me and discuss in class using the vocabulary and language skills that they have learned. I will also make use of in-text questions to check comprehension and combine this activity with the pairs check activity, which basically has students confer with each other on their answers after they completed their practice problems. By combining the pairs check activity with the in-text questions, my students will have an extra opportunity to interact with one another. This will help them to practice their language skills and help teach one another during the lesson. Now looking at the beyond processes that I will use, after my students are gaining a better understanding of the material, I will give them practice writing their own problems. They will do this using the activity Send a Problem. This entails students working either individually or in pairs to create their own problems based on the material. They will then send their problems to other students that will then solve the problems. This will foster student interaction and allow for another opportunity for students to practice language skills and help teach each other. At the end of the lesson, I will have students write a reflection that would also go in their section portfolios that I will have my students complete. This will allow my students to communicate more to me and have me gauge their needs more effectively. The portfolios gives me an extra insight into how they're progressing as the section moves along. For assessments, aside from the activities that I have listed in the previous sections, I'll have my students complete a homework assignment that will go in their section portfolios. Part of their homework will be to do internet research to find a real-world example of the material on their own. Students that do not have internet access at home will be allowed to use the computer lab after school to complete this assignment. I will also give my students a short quiz assessment that will test their level of understanding. At the close of this lesson, I will summarize the new material that we learned and will then tell my students to read the next section that we will cover in the following class. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope that you enjoyed my SDAIE lesson plan.